I'm a young Iraqi woman who took off her scarf at 20, managed to have one of the best salaries, and never left the country. I'm a doctor in governmental hospitals. I see everything, and also worked in emergency rooms and wards, both in big cities and small rural areas. My family is middle class, so nothing crazy. Ask me anything.
How much do you earn? How much are your monthly costs?
I earned about $1,000. Sometimes my monthly costs is even less than $100. Hospital gives me a place to stay as a doctor and the food. When I'm off, I go to my family home. It costs about $250 with food and taxis. I buy gold with the rest of the money as any Middle Eastern women, and I keep my savings to buy a house someday.
How old are you now? And do people treat you less as a doctor because you are a woman, or they give you same respect as a male doctor with the same experience?
I am in my late 20s. I would say that as women doctors, we technically have the same problem around the world. You can just feel that they trust or listen to the male doctor more than the female doctor. That said, they really respect doctors here, especially since we are the first responders. Whenever any attack happens, you will see all the doctors driving to the hospitals, wanting to help and save as many lives as possible. I would say that I receive a great deal of respect from both men and women. They always listen to me and respect me. Police officers often come to me out of nowhere when things get tense, asking if everything is okay or if I need something. I honestly receive a lot of respect, and for that, I am very grateful. But regarding the tendency to trust a male doctor more than a female doctor, you can feel it. It is more of an idea in the back of their minds than active discrimination, in my opinion. I only notice it a few times a year. Not very often, especially because I am so assertive. When I say something will happen, it will happen.
Would you say you are still Muslim? If yes or no, what are your thoughts on your chosen relationship with religion and God?
Regarding religion, it is like your last name. You cannot simply change it. Personally, I do not consider myself religious. Regarding my chosen relationship with God, I honestly do not think about it very much. I always say that if saving so many lives every day, being burned out, and working so hard means anything, and if I can receive something in return, then I want my family to be happy. I also want to continue being blessed and informed, to always make the right decisions and save as many lives as possible. I truly do not care much about anything else. However, I do appreciate when I receive many prayers from people. They have a way of making me blush, I must admit. That is probably why I do not believe religion itself can make people bad. Rather, people choose to be bad and use religion as an excuse.
What is the reason you are supposed to wear a hijab? I know it is cultural, but what is it intended to achieve? Why did you decide to remove the hijab? How has life changed for you as a result of removing it? What do your family, boyfriend, and children think of the removal? How has the general population changed in the way they treat you since you removed your hijab? Do you think you will ever go back to wearing a hijab? Why or why not?
It is mostly religious. People like to look Muslim. I think men in general like to control women's clothing to make statements. And in this case, they want to make a statement that says, we are religious. People often say that the hijab protects women or something similar, but in my personal experience, that is not true. I was harassed more when I was wearing the hijab than after I took it off. Probably now, more predators think that I am a strong person who will defend herself and ruin their lives if they lay a finger on me. I thought about removing the hijab for years during my adolescence. It really did not represent me, and I did not like the idea of the sexualization of women. I believe that specific clothing is not necessary for me to avoid being sexualized, and that is the idea I have promoted ever since. Everyone will respect me as a human being, plain and simple. Life did not change much for me. I only had people ask me sometimes if I am Christian, or ask me why I do not wear the hijab, all in friendly ways. It seems more that they want to understand a person who looks different, rather than to judge or impose any beliefs on me. Even those who ask seem genuinely embarrassed, and I can tell they think about it a lot before saying anything. My experience has been just fine so far. I do not think I will ever wear it again, honestly. I only show my face, hair, and sometimes my arms. That is simply what a normal human being looks like, and I would need a very good reason to stop looking like the normal version of myself. My family did not like it at first, especially because Al Qaeda used to attack women in their time for not wearing a hijab. They were worried, but after I removed it and nothing happened, they became comfortable with it.
Did life change for the better for the Iraqi people after the Iraq War?
Of course, everything changed. I will put all of my thoughts about this topic here, as it is probably the first topic that comes to mind when anyone talks about Iraq. My experience of the invasion itself was one of my worst childhood experiences. I remember my father covering me with clothes and telling me to hide on the floor of the car while he drove past American checkpoints so that he would not appear vulnerable and be taken. 1 million people were killed by them. That number is not a joke. That is more than the entire population of Amsterdam, yet everyone complains about how crowded that city is. People were killed simply because they were Iraqi or because they fought back against the invasion. It was, and still is, very difficult to see a foreign nation from the other side of the world stealing your country's wealth. Soldiers were everywhere back then, and we had to pretend that we were calm. Did you walk to school? Soldiers, did you take a school trip? Soldiers everywhere. Even after 2 decades, they still bomb us from time to time when there is no declared war, and as a first responder, I simply hate it. Regarding Saddam, using a power to take down another power does not achieve anything, because now some parties are using power in the same way. This is very apparent, honestly. If I had to choose between living now or living 30 years ago, I would choose to live now, because Saddam became an Islamist toward the end to please other Arab countries, and I am not a fan of theocracy. Today, it is still a theocracy, but in a messy way, and I have hope that at the end of this mess, we will find a solution. I genuinely feel that we always come close to that goal, but then a terrorist attack occurs, which causes people to hold more strongly to their roots. That is understandable and respectable, honestly, especially given the fact that terrorists pretend to hold those progressive values. Final thoughts. I do not respect anyone involved in what happened to my country back then, not even the doctors. Doctors participated in prison torture, and I cannot even begin to talk about what happened to the prisoners. As a doctor myself, I will never understand how a doctor could do such things after taking the medical oath.
Have you ever considered leaving Iraq for a more relaxed and balanced lifestyle?
I actually love it here 90% of the time. The only times I think about relocating are when I consider having children. I really do not want them to have the same childhood as I did. But for now, I am enjoying my life. I will probably either stay here and remain child-free or relocate someday as a doctor. I literally save lives every single day. I feel that I have a lot to offer. So if I ever relocate, I will do so as a doctor with a job already waiting for me. Other than that, it is not an option, honestly. If I ever relocate, my number one choice is Australia. At the end of the day, I am a desert woman. 40 degrees Celsius in the summer is my best life. Australia also looks like a great place to raise children, with many places to go. Additionally, some cities there have a shortage of doctors, so I know I can help with that. I also like Ireland and the Irish people, so that would be a good choice as well.